Okay, so this is a garden that we're revisiting. I believe it's 8 years on. This is quite a large country estate style garden. It was a barn conversion. It had this large gravel area that was fairly bare at the beginning in front of the house, which was really nice, which kind of lent itself to this kind of French courtyard style idea which I had. Then there was this connecting space to the side, which was bare actually, and the place, it just didn't have a lot of identity. There was already a swimming pool on the site, but it was kind of plonked kind of to the side and the back corner of the property. So yeah, this is 8 years on, so if the lawn doesn't look perfect in these images, you can choose to maintain a lawn to a very high level, or if you just mow a lawn, that's reflected in how it appears 8 to 10 years later. So there was this area to the side of the property which I decided to create a kind of a seasonal entranceway, which brought you round from this French courtyard idea at the front, and then brought you around through this mix of shrubs and perennials in a kind of a gravel garden where the plants are planted into the gravel, and then we dress gravel over the top of the soil, and then that brings you around the side, around the back of the house where there was already a York stone patio. We amended that with the design. So we created this sense of flow all the way around the back. We widened that patio area, so we created a greater area for seating that didn't interrupt the doorway which you would leave the back of the house from. And then because there was this big glass facade at the back, actually it went through to the front. The barn had been really nicely converted. And so this glass facade front and back seemed to lend itself to an access that went all the way to the back. And actually the back had really large compressor trees, like a hedge that was 5 or 6 meters high. It was planted on a bund as well, I think, where building work had done, and they'd stored the bund. So one of the biggest impacts that we had on the site was to remove the hedge and remove the bund, and then plant with something that felt a lot more native. We planted quite a large semi-mature beech hedge, and that, because there was quite an issue with deer on this site, there was already a closed boundary on 3 sides. So in the back, we could incorporate with the hedge a kind of a deer fence, which is not really visible. And then we designed these gates that were quite tall at the back that would then act as something that would stop deer, but also create this sense of a view at the end of the access. The client, along with a lot of clients, they don't really want an enormous amount of maintenance, even if they've got a large garden and they want to develop the whole garden. So, caring for the environment and wanting to create habitat for wildlife, and the idea of wildflower meadows is a really good way to go, to put hand in hand that care with this sense of having areas that are lower maintenance. So it really made sense just to create this access that went through a wildflower meadow and went to these gates that were at the back of the property. And then there was this beautiful view which looked out over the fields, which would, in the summer be yellow with the ripening wheat or barley, which was really beautiful. I think the design was successful. We're 8 years on now, and the house was actually bought by a neighbour. So the neighbour liked the design and the garden that we created so much that when the house came up for sale, they bought it and actually moved from an adjacent house. I think that's quite a good testament to a garden design that, a neighbour who we obviously spoke to a lot and we were really familiar with while we were creating the garden. I think that it has created a really good sense of identity for the house, and all the different areas work really well. And obviously things could be perfect, but we're not. I don't think creating gardens is really about creating perfection, and things change over time. And these people are very happy with this garden that they've inherited. That's why they chose to move from a house that was next door.